Hello guys, my name is Glurmit and today I'm going to be going over some teams that you can farm that work in both LSGEO and transition into Rise of Empire for both those light side and neutral nodes. We're not going to be going over any of the dark side teams for Rise of Empire because this is a light side focused video, but there'll be one on that come out in the next few days. So to begin with, we've got a combination of teams. So we've got some more accessible ones, we've got some Omicron dependent ones, and then we've also got some that include Galactic Legend or Conquest characters. But there's a real blend here, but these are all teams that I 100% would recommend you guys use. Even if you just pick one or two of these, they're going to benefit you in the long run. So the first team here is the Finn Omicron team. Now I would not recommend this if you do not have the Omicron. Although if you have Zori, you can probably still get good waves, but honestly, the Omicron is very important here, especially for LSGEO. Now this team, you do not need Zori, so basically you can go Finn with Zori here and bypass the Omicron, or you can go Finn without Zori, but then you need the Omicron. Either way, this team is very strong, a great addition to your collection. The next team is going to be Shakti clones. Now there's a lot of reasons to farm this up. Maybe you've done the gas farm, maybe you want to go cam clones ready. There's a lot of reasons, and honestly this team is really strong, especially in LSGEO. The Shakti version is going to be performing better than the General Skywalker version. He tends to be safe for Jedi, and overall it's a great team to have. Next up we have Padme. Now Padme is a decent team in both Rise of Empire and LSGEO. She's not the greatest team ever, but she's someone that a lot of people have at relics, or a lot of people have farmed up anyway. I mean, if you look at this team itself, 4 of the characters are journey guide requirements: C-3PO, General Anakin, General Kenobi, and Padme, and especially at high relics as well. The only character you need to farm is Ahsoka, but you could substitute her for someone else. I wouldn't recommend it. Sometimes you take her out for Cat, which is worth it, but other than that, I would just run this team here. It will get you some solid waves in LSGEO, maybe occasionally a 4 out of 4, majority of the time 2 or 3 out of 4. And in Rise of Empire, Padme is actually one of the better teams for those light side missions. Remember guys, in Rise of Empire, you need to use about 4 or 5 teams per zone. Right, and then you have neutral and you have light side, so Padme does have a lot of utility, as some of those teams that we're going to be looking at down here will go into the neutral zone, so Padme will have her time to shine. Next up we have one of those teams I was just talking about, CLS. In LSGEO, CLS is good. He's a solid 3 out of 4, but sometimes the final boss can screw him over. So he's a good team to chuck it on auto, just clear as many waves as you can, and then you come out with a 3 out of 4, which isn't bad for a lot of you. Some of you this may not be enough, but for the majority of you watching, that's going to be perfectly fine. And then in Rise of Empire, this team does very well. It's one of those teams that works well in the neutral sectors. When you're doing Rise of Empire, guys, it's important to look at the mechanics and the characters you're up against, because there's a lot of different modifiers on each planet, and it really does affect what teams you can take in. CLS tends to be used on the neutral zone, but he's a very good character to have. Next we have Rebel Officer Leia. Now I left this blank because the characters you use is up to you. If you have her up and you have her Omicron, she is a god in both light side and neutral zones on TV for Rise of Empire, and she's a absolute legend in LSGEO, where she will just auto everything. But the team is up to you guys. You don't have to run like the CLS team with her. You can split it up however you want, so I left this one blank. 100% recommend if you have the Omicron. And just remember guys, if you are applying a TB Omicron, you need to be taking the TB Omicron characters to relic 7 or 8 minimum, so you can actually use them in Rise of Empire. There's no point having a relic 3 roller with the Omicron and just leaving them at relic 3. There's no value to be gained there. Next up we have our first GL team. This is the standard one before Ben came out. Ben does make it a little bit easier, but you're going to be running JTR lead, Rey, BB-8, Resistance Hero Finn, and Resistance Hero Poe. Now the good thing about this team is you can just stack protection up on Finn, and as long as Finn does not die, you will win. Even if you lose anyone else, like normally you'll lose one character early on, as long as it's not Finn, you're gonna win guys, because of the inspiration and all of that fun stuff. And it's a great team. If you have Rey, you should be maxing waves in TV, but I know a lot of you don't have Rey. Next up, we have JKL. Now, JKL are left blank again. Same with JML here, guys, because it's up to you. You can run JKL with any Jedi you want, and he will most likely max LSGEO, but I would not use JKL in Rise of Empire. I would use JML instead. So this is a GOTB team, and this is a Rise of Empire team. Both of them work really, really well here, guys. And honestly, it's up to you what Jedi you run. Next, we have Mon Mothma. Now, this works with and without the Omicron on Kyle. Now, with the Omicron on Kyle, it's going to work in the later phases of LSGEO, and it's going to work better in Rise of Empire. Without the Omicron, you can at least do the first 2 phases or first 2 sectors in LSGEO, and then Rise of Empire will be a bit difficult. But remember, for Rise of Empire, you do need the minimum R5 on the whole team. But this is a great team to use, very accessible. Kyle is needed. His Omicron's very nice, guys, but you can get past without it. It's a great team I would 100% recommend. Now, the next team is one that a lot of you are going to have up and running, or at some point plan on having up and running, and that is going to be the ADRAD team. Now, this does also have an Omicron, guys. You do not need the Omicron for the later sectors of Rise of Empire, but this team just works really, really nicely. What you'll kind of find is a lot of the time the AI is kind of dumb, and they will just target Jin, and obviously she can't die while Radis is alive, so it works pretty well. I recommend this team, guys. It's reasonably strong, and again, most of you have it at high relics, and the benefit here is you're going to have Radis R9, Cassian R8, and the only 3 you would need to gear up higher are these 3. And if you took them to Relic 7, which is 3 more characters, you can use this team throughout all of Rise of Empire for most of you. I don't think many of you watching will be doing the Relic 8 or the Relic 9 planets just yet. Then we have Dash. Dash team's actually pretty decent in LSGEO. It kind of comes down to if people get nuked early on, but Vandal is going to be reviving people. He can save you there. Always make sure you're remodding for LSGEO. For Rise of Empire, this team isn't as good, but it's still pretty strong, and the benefit is 4 of these characters are needed for missions in Rise of Empire. So by farming this team, you're not only getting good waves in LSGEO, but you're prepping yourself for needing them in Rise of Empire. Then we have Shorty Droids. Now, guys, if you want to see how this team does in LSGEO, I'll post a link to the video I made a while back in the comments. I recommend you go check it out, but this team's actually low-key underrated. If you have the droids up and running, maybe you use CLS and friends with Rolo up here, and then you need another team in LSGEO. This is the team to go for, guys, because you can run Shorty, BB-8, R2, T3, 3PO, and Chewie, and this team will dominate. You can basically auto away. It's incredible how well this team does in LSGEO. Now, in terms of Rise of Empire, I'm going to be honest, guys, right now it's not very good. This team doesn't have the same potential as other teams in Rise of Empire, but in LSGEO it does really well. So this is one of those LSGEO teams. And again, it makes use of journey guide requirements. We've got 3PO and Chewie. He's needed for the JML event. We've got R2's needed for 2 events. BB-8's needed for Rey, and then Shorty, we don't know yet, but it's likely she's needed for Leviathan down the line. So you're going to have this team built up potentially for LSGEO. Next, we have JMK and Cat. Again, I've left the last spaces blank because this is up to you guys. There is no right or wrong here. You can also put Cat with Padme. You can put Cat with JMK. This team is just insane. There's nothing else to really say here other than this team's awesome. Then we have the Wookiees. Now, guys, this is a new team. I've put this here just because I think this is going to be a great team going forward. Now, teams that do well in LSGEO, teams that do well in Rise of Empire are durable teams, teams that can survive the opening onslaught. And this seems like it's going to be one of those teams. So once I get it up to the Relic 7, Relic 8 level, I'm going to be testing in the later phases of Rise of Empire, and I would not be surprised if this turns out to be a good 2 out of 2 team. In terms of LSGEO, I think this will be an easy 4 out of 4 because of Zalbar's unique, because of the constant health recovery and all of that stuff. Now, the only worry is, does Droidica nuke you? But you have a couple of dispels, you have stun, you have armor shed, so there's ways to deal with them, right? So I feel like this is going to be a great team. going forward. Then we have BAM. Now this is an interesting team, guys. I left the last spot blank because it's up to you guys again what you run, but you can run Beskar, Mando, Quill, IG, and Nest, and this works pretty well because of the damage immunity, because of the whistling birds. You're going to be getting through those stacks of B1 in LSGEO very quick. And in terms of Rise of Empire, the characters do have some versatility. Now you're not really going to be using Nest and BAM much, but Quill and IG are used in a lot of teams. You can use them with Ray, you can use them, you can carry on running this team, but it's just not going to be as good. It's another light side geo focused team. And the last team for today's video is going to be Bad Batch. Now you do not need the Omicron for this team to be good, but if you apply the Omicron, this team's going to be unreal, just amazing. Great team to farm, guys. And again, in terms of journey guide requirements, 4 out of the 5 are required. I wouldn't be surprised if a mega is needed for someone down the line as well. So there are a few teams here, guys. Some of them are better than others, but all of them have versatility and utility within both Light Side Geo and Rise of Empire. Just remember, guys, you're not going to be doing both of these with low gear. You're not going to be winning with gear 7, gear 8, gear 9, gear 10. You're going to need at least gear 12 or relic minimum, and for Rise of Empire you obviously need relic 5. So it is obviously mid to late game content, but these are all teams you should work on, and hopefully some of these teams you either have been working on or some of them you can finish early. Now if I had to go through and tell you 3 of the teams that you should invest over all the others, it'd be Shakti clones. We would also say down here for the Radis team, and then I'd actually say probably either Bad Batch or the Padme team are going to be your best bets, because those are teams that use the most journey guide requirements. And obviously Shakti clones is great because if you do want to go back and do cam at some point, maybe your guild decides to go do cam in 6 months time, maybe there's a character come out after posting this video that requires cam, you can go back and your guild can participate in that event. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. My name is Glurmit, and as always, guys, I hope you have a glurming day.